AIS Play ความบันเทิงระดับโลกทุกที่ทุกเวลา
ส่งต่อความมั่นใจสู้ไปด้วยกันนะครับ
Tap of the fists even after the clock had started ticking. You're allowed one incorrect challenge, as many correct challenges as you like, but the coaches are the ones who challenge. They say that wasn't a kick, it missed, or that wasn't a pull or a push, because there are sanctions as well that will go against players. If you are sanctioned for passive play, for falling down to the mat, going outside the mat, or pushing or pulling, then your opponent gets a point, and 10 sanction points. I've never seen that, not at these Asian Games at least. No one's ever had 10 sanction points, but you then lose by disqualification. We have a first sanction point. It's against Galucho from Timor-Leste. So as you can see, he has one in the yellow column, and then Metarshoev has one in the more important points column. Now, attempting a spinning kick can get you extra points. They rarely come off, and you only tend to see them towards the end of bouts. In the third round, when someone's chasing the game. 3 2-minute rounds is what we have, with a 1-minute break in between each of the rounds. No scoring blows landed as yet. And there we have it. A kick to the trunk from Metarshoev. And he takes a 3-0 lead, an extra 2 points for that kick to the trunk. Tried the kick to the head and got it. There we go. So, an exchange of kicks to the head, a flurry of points right at the very end of that first round. A kick to the head on either side, 3 points each. But Metarshoev already had that kick to the trunk and the penalty point in his favor, so he leads 6-3. Musako Galucho of Timor-Leste made it to the quarter-finals of the SEA Games last year, the Southeast Asian Games in Kuala Lumpur. But there weren't many competitors there. Quarterfinals isn't saying that much because there are only 10 countries involved. So quarterfinal is probably a polite way of saying that he was knocked out in the first round. Metarshoev, meanwhile, made the last 16 of the Asian Indoor Martial Arts Games in Ashgabat last year. He's got a height advantage, the man on the left, Metarshoev. 1.82 meters, so he's 6 feet tall. Musako Galucho to the floor. That's a point against him. So the lead is extended to 7-3. Obviously can't be pushed to the floor. That's a penalty point against the person doing the pushing. A kick to the trunk makes it 9-4 for Metarshoev. Kicks coming in now thick and fast from the Tajikistani taekwondo. And another one, he's finding his way through the defenses of Musako Galucho. Another sanction against the Timor-Leste fighter for pulling. He's desperately trying to get his bigger opponent a little bit nearer to him. When you're 6 foot tall and up against someone who's only around 5'7", it's easy to keep them at bay with long limbs. kick to the head. We saw that. He had all the time in the world to do that, did Metarshoev, and again, using those long limbs of his. That's 2 3-pointers in a row. Kick to the trunk as well. Now we are entering points gap territory. If one fighter is 20 points clear, and he's currently 17 clear, Metarshoev 20 points clear at the end of the second round or any time in the third round, and the fight is called. But there, Musako Gaucho finally gets a scoring blow. Lands a kick to the head. Impressive against a taller opponent. So the gap is down to 14, but it still leaves the fighter from Timor-Leste with, I think, far too much to do in the final 2 minutes. Brave display from him, though. But it's been all about this man, Metarshoev, up until now. That was the flying attempt at a kick to the head, which saw Musako Gaucho end up on his backside and out of the ring. You only get the 1 sanctioned point if 2 things happen in the same gesture. We're going to see a couple of the kicks to the head, I'm sure, from Metarshoev. He managed to get those huge, there we go, those long levers of his all the way around to just brush the helmet, set the sensor off. That's all you need to do. You don't want to be kicking the head of your opponent. That's dangerous play. Kick comes in from Metarshoev, and if he can register another 4 points, then he won't have to go the distance. Well, another 4 points whilst keeping Musako Gaucho off the score sheet. This is the final round. So if we get to a 20-point gap, there's 3, and 1 of them given back. So 3 points for the kick to the head, and then 1 handed over to the opponent for falling to the mat. So it was a net +2. And then that sanctioned point immediately gets handed back, and Metarshoev is but a punch away from making it through to the round of 16. There we go. A kick to the trunk makes it a 21-point gap, and by dint of the points rule, Metarshoev, Khurram Metarshoev of Tajikistan, is through to face Zhao Shui, the #1 seed of China. Job done, and did it inside the distance. A very impressive display there from Khurram Metarshoev. Good to see some friendly interaction between the two of them. We're going to see some kicks to the head, and we're going to see either player end up on the backsides. All about balance. It's easier said than done when you're up against someone and you're in a big arena like this one. Big as in terms of the stakes, high stakes at the 18th Asian Games. The mat itself is always 12 meters by 12 meters. It can be square or octagonal. And here it's octagonal, there it is. Moving on, another round of 32 tie. Ahmad Bakshi of Afghanistan against Bir Bahadur Mahara of Nepal. Bakshi versus Mahara for the right to take on Kazibek Bakhtiaruli in the quarterfinals. Ahmad Bakshi 1m78, 5'10". Now he was the winner in this very category in the South Asian Games in Guwahati, India, 2 years ago. He's down to number 202 in the world. So peaked a while ago, you would say. He turns 21 tomorrow, so how about a surprise medal as an early birthday present? Bir Bahadur Mahara, much smaller fighter, 1m60. He's 23 years old. And he was the runner-up in those South Asian Games, so these two know each other very well. Don't have a world ranking for him at the moment. He plays for the Nepal Police Club. And has a Korean coach. As mentioned before, Taekwondo is the national sport of Korea, and they already have. Well, they came into these Asian Games, the 18th Asiad, with no fewer than 53 gold medals in the past 17 Asian Games. And they've been adding to that tally over the past few days. In the Pumse, the technique version of the sport, they won the men's individual with Kang Min-sung and the men's team competition. And then since then, Lee Da-bin has won the women's over 67 category, and Kim Tae-hun the men's under 58. So there's another 4 medals for Korea to boast about. And there's every chance of them picking up some medals today in the men's under 63, the bantamweight, and the men's welterweight under 80 kilos. Whether those medals will be gold, silver or bronze, or indeed any at all, remains to be seen. But at the moment, we're looking at Mahara of Nepal, who gets on the board very early with a 3-pointer against Bakshi of Afghanistan in blue. Tried to land a punch there, did Mahara. Didn't quite get through the defenses. That one did, again, over the top, using his far superior height here. He's listed as 1m60, but that is, I think it's more like 1m80. Referee breaks them apart. Taekwondo is all about the combat. We don't want to see them in clinches. If you want the grabbing and the flipping, then there will be judo later in these Asian Games. Obviously, it's all about contact, keeping contact, and then getting your opponent off balance. A punch from Mahara gives him an extra point. Punch landed there from Bakshi, and that gets him on the board. And a kick from Bakshi takes him up to 3, but as he went down into that kick, he left himself open for a kick to the head from Mahara, who followed it up with a kick to the trunk, and there's 5 points in a row for the Nepalese fighter. Punch from Bakshi does hit the mark. Will there be a sanction? Yes, there is. I didn't know whether it's going to be sanctioned for pushing by Mahara, but in the end it's for falling to the mat by Bakshi. So Mahara has a 9-point advantage at the end of the first round. Bakshi trying to get the foot up there. And there we see the three-pointer just grazing the head and setting off the sensors. And again, the scoreboard ticked around there from 7 to 10. Delight from the Nepalese camp. He's got the Nepal national coach with him here, as opposed to his personal coach, his club coach back in Nepal. Second round to get underway. The referee calls them in, and away we go. Attempted kick to the head there from Bakshi. Difficult for him to get all the way up. Due to his height disadvantage, a punch landed by Mahara. He's managing that very well, coming into the clinch and getting a punch through the defences. 10 points the difference. And another kick gets through those defences. The defences not looking very solid from Bakshi. His hands not protecting the trunk protector where the sensors are. He, of course, has to take the game to his opponent because he's 12 points adrift. Taekwondo being the art of attack and defense, all in one. Attempted a spinning kick. Spinning kicks gain extra points and they're rarely landed. Fair bit of dancing around, and Bakshi backing off. The referee might have to get him to get in there and show a bit more willing. He gets a punch. So he's managed to keep Mahara off the scoreboard for most of this second round. Second round that's gone by in the blink of an eye with not a whole lot happening. Mahara won't be too displeased with that because he takes a 16-5 lead into the final round. He was 13-4 to the good, so he's slightly extended his lead. He would have been expecting a little bit more than that, I think, from the second round. He was a little bit passive there. It'd be nice to see him finish off with a flourish and maybe get the contest done and dusted inside the distance by dint of the 20-point gap rule. A lot for the producers to show in terms of a highlight reel from the second round. There was the one kick that Mahara managed to land. And one kick earned him 3 points. Well, there we go. They're the home fans. We know who they will be cheering on a little bit later on. In the bantamweight category, we have Ibrahim Zaman, the number 6 seed. They'll be hoping he can edge his way up the draw and make it into the medal conversation. But these two here doing battle for the right to take on the number 5 seed, Kazibak Bakhtiaruli of Kazakhstan. Bakshi coming back, a kick to the head, reduces the deficit to just 8. So I don't think it's going to be a points gap. It's going to be a proper brawl to see who actually qualifies here. This could well be the sting that Mahara needs. He's only got the one scoring shot in the past 3 minutes or so. This might have woken him up. A sanction against him for pulling, so the gap is now only 7 points. Bakshi throwing caution to the wind. He's got 95 seconds. It's not over yet. We do have a contest on our hands. Didn't look like it at the end of the first round when there was a 9-point gap. It's now down to 7. Maharat not able to get on the board. In comes Bakshi with a left-right-left combo, but none of those punches hit the mark. Maharat tightening up his defences. He's going to have to attack as well, and there's a lot of clinching going on, which could well be sanctioned again at some point. Already had a point against him, Maharat. Attempted punch doesn't land. Well, much ado about nothing for the last 30 seconds or so. A lot of clinching, which all suits Maharat. Keeping his opponent off the board. Bakshi came out all guns blazing a minute and a half ago. There's far too much clinching going on. There's going to have to be a sanction at some point. The referee's letting them get on with it. Looks like Maharat is going to coast over the line there. He's trying to get contact with the head. Hasn't registered a point in this round. 20 seconds for Bakshi to go. Unless he can land some spinning kicks, it's all over for him. It's a shame because if you'd have shown this kind of intent earlier in the bout. There we go, Maharat finally gets one as the defenses are opened up, and a three-pointer from Bakshi, a three-pointer from Maharat, who falls to the ground, another three-pointer for him. It's all happened in the last 10 seconds as Bakshi had to go all guns blazing. Nothing he can do, and he went out with a bang rather than the whimper. But it's Maharat who gets through 24-13. A very cautious second and third round for him, and then he picked off the points when he could, when his opponent was forced to open up. A 24-13 win to Maharat from Nepal, who will go on to face Bakhtiaruli of Kazakhstan, the number 5 seed, in the round of 16. That's in the top half of the draw, which also will feature Zhao, the number 1 seed, against Metarshoev, whom we saw at the start of this broadcast. Well, we did have some highlights to see in the final round. Towards the end, it was cautious stuff for most of it. But we got there in the end as the sweat flies. It's very well air-conditioned here, but the sweat is flying due to the fact that there's so much intensity. There's a heck of a lot of kit they're wearing as well. So it's hot work, Taekwondo. The next bout, another round of 32. Thai. Ong Kyo of Myanmar takes on Harun Khan of Pakistan. Kyo against Khan for the right to face Indonesia's finest Ibrahim Zarman. Harun Khan leaping up and down. He also has a Korean coach when he's back home, Lee Sung-jae. Currently ranked 248th in the world. Very much an outsider here. Giving away a few centimeters to Kyo of Myanmar. Kyo is Khan is 170, Kyo 174. Kyo, the more experienced fighter. Hasn't got many wins under his belt. Again, was a quarter-finalist at the SEA Games in Kuala Lumpur last year, but that also implies a first-round exit. He's 207th in the world, so two outsiders for us to watch here. And the Indonesian fans won't like that. They'll be looking forward to their fighter taking on whoever wins here. He's certainly getting into the spirit of things at this 18th Asiad. Well, the other Pakistan athletes are here to cheer on Harun Khan. There is his Korean coach. If you're going to learn, then learn from the best, and the Koreans certainly are the best when it comes to Taekwondo. It's their national sport. Sensors duly tested. The referee calls them in, and we're underway. Harun Khan in red. On Kyo in blue. First kick registered by Khan. Two in a row to the trunk, and a sanction against Kyo for pulling. So a 5-point lead for Khan already. Kick to the trunk, ducks out of the way. Kyo right on the edge of the mat. Khan unlucky he didn't get another point there. And there again. Khan making all the early running. Kyo doing the early running, but in the opposite direction. As the Indonesian fans get into this, the spirit of this contest, and well, the lead is doubled with a kick to the head and two quick kicks to the trunk. And then another sanction against Kyo, who's yet to get off the mark, and Khan leads at 15-0. Battle of the outsiders, but Khan is showing that he is going to be worthy opposition when he takes on the Indonesian fighter, which he may well do later on. He got a punch there, and then there was a kick to the head, but he was already being sanctioned for clutching. So that will go down to 16-1. No sanction in the end. Kyo still being nilled. Khan, a very aggressive fighter, showcasing good technique. Kyo seemingly overawed, and there's another kick to the head. 19 points the difference. The points get and Kyo's equipment coming apart. I think his game plan is also looking rather flimsy. The points gap only comes into effect after 2 rounds, but Khan will be looking for that already. Khan getting right in there. It's a bit of holding and grabbing. The referee needs to make sure that doesn't happen. And, well, the holding and grabbing is coming from Kyo. And he finds himself 20 points adrift at the end of the first round. Khan now only 2 minutes away, providing he can at least maintain this gap, and he will be through to face the Indonesian Ibrahim Zarman in the round of 16. They're in the quarter of the draw that also sees Cho Gang-min of Korea. So there's plenty for these fighters to do if they're to get a medal. And we see Kyo going off the mat, taking blows to the head. They don't hurt, obviously, only your pride. Second round underway, and if Khan can at the very least maintain this 20-point gap, but you'd expect him to extend it, as he does with 2 kicks to the trunk. 24 points now, as Kyo literally and metaphorically comes apart. And then the bout will be over at the end of the second round. Al-Mabruk of Saudi Arabia has just got through a round of 32 tie, and he will face Cho Gang-min of Korea, the number 3 seed, in this quarter of the draw. Kyo needs to get on the board at the very least. He hasn't registered a single point. And if you can't get at least 5 of them, then he's going to be out of the contest. Make that 6 now, as make that 9. We have a 28-point lead after a punch and then a kick to the head from Harun Khan, who's managing this fight to perfection. 50 seconds to go in this second round, and it's going to be the second of 2, unless Kyo can suddenly pull something out of the bag. Khan needs to maintain his concentration, but I'm sure he will. Just over half a minute to go, and then he is into the round of 16. Kick to the trunk makes it 30. 32 with another kick to the trunk. 33 with a sanction for pulling. And Kyo is going to be leaving this competition with his tail between his legs, as well as various straps dangling from his seemingly ill-fitting equipment. The clock winds down, and Harun has succeeded in nilling his opponents. Off come the helmets, and the tie is called. Winner by points gap. The mercy rule comes in. 33-0. Harun Khan is the winner. One-way traffic that was. Incredibly impressive display from the Korean-trained Pakistani. And he will be a worthy adversary of Ibrahim Zarman. I'm sure the home crowd that we can hear in the background would have been hoping for an easier passage through to the quarterfinals for Zarman. But he's going to have his work cut out against Khan, who's a real battler. See the blows raining in here from Khan. Bit of a clutcher and a grabber, but he was entitled to do that since Kya was the worst offender of the two. Now, as you can see on your screen, Qatar versus Philippines this time around. Ahmed Digbas against Francis Aaron Agojo. Agojo, a very experienced fighter. He's only 22, but he's been around for a good few years. Took up the sport 6 years ago, and then 2 years after that already at the Asian Games in Incheon. He made the quarterfinals, so he got through the first round. Made the third round of the World Championships in 2015 and 2017. Quarterfinals of the Asian Championships, but at a much lighter weight, under 54 kilos. But he has medals at the SEA Games. Bronze in Kuala Lumpur last year. Silver in Naypyidaw 5 years ago. And in Singapore 3 years ago. Bronze at the Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games in Ashgabat last year. So he knows what it takes to get into the medal conversation. Ahmed Digbas, 26 years old. Ranked 170th in the world. Made the second round of the Asian Championships in Manila a couple of years ago. Second round of the World Championships in Muju, Korea last year. Studied sports administration in Yemen. Where he took up the sport as a 12-year-old. And out he comes. Digbas in the red. A round of 32 tie, and this is to see who takes on Mir Hasham Hosseini of Iran, the number 2 seed in the quarterfinals. Hosseini, who bantamweight world runner-up to Zhao Shui last year. And we are underway. Blows and punches raining in, and Digbas is the one who opens his account with a kick to the head. Agojo responds with exactly the same, but then ends up off the mat, so it's 4-3 to Digbas. Fast and furious start in the first 15 seconds. Agojo gets another one through to the head. Going for the big money shots early on. Digbas responds with a kick to the trunk protector, 6-all. And we're barely 30 seconds into this bout. Agojo back in the lead. A kick to the trunk and then a punch. Another punch. Only gets you 1 point, but if you can rain those blows in, then those points soon add up. It's on the edge of the mat again is Agojo, but he has a 4-point lead. Down goes Digbas. Going to have the, I thought he was going to have an 8 count, but no, he just lost his footing, and we're having a challenge, the first challenge of the day, and it's Digbas's coach. Digbas has a point against him for falling to the mat, and his coach is going to say that he was pushed. Did he jump? No, he was pushed. So the referee will take that over to the judges. If the referee is absolutely sure of what happened, then they don't have to go to the video. But 9 times out of 10 they do. Judges are, of course, watching exactly what happens as well. Not merely waiting for an opportunity to rewind the video. Much discussion going on here. So I think they're going to sort it out amongst themselves rather than go to the video if they're going to discuss it for that long. No, the video is going to be watched. It's on the screen to the right of your screen. I'm going to rock and roll it back and forth. Seems that Agojo, yes, the challenge has been refused, the crossed arm signal, so no more challenges for Digbas, and the point remains on the Agojo on the blue side of the ledger. Another sanction against Digbas. Agojo fires in a punch. Digbas does the same. Agojo this time is the one sanctioned for pulling. Huge blows that are neutralized as the buzzer goes, and we've had an exciting first round. 14 points to 8, the Filipino Taekwondo leads. Digbas with no challenges left as his coach used the one up early on, trying to save a point. Point could be crucial in the final analysis, but so could the ability to have a challenge. His review has gone. Punches being shown there, and it was the punch and then down went Digbas, more from the force of the blow. There was no pushing involved, so that was a fair call. Kick to the head from Agojo, and he extends his lead to 9 points early in the second round. Make that 11 with a kick to the trunk. Digbas gets a punch in there. He's getting scoring shots, but there was a kick to the head. Down went Digbas to try to extend the leg. He got his body horizontal to try to get a kick to the trunk. Agojo saw it coming and went over the top, touched the head, and now he is 13 points clear after that three-pointer. Agojo managing this bout very well. It's been quite frenetic, been good to watch. Quite often bouts are very cagey. Another punch there from Agojo. Neither player really wanting to open themselves up. This is a round of 32. So exciting stuff. Well, all of a sudden, a kick to the head and to the trunk from Digbas gets him 5 points. Down goes Agojo, and that was a 6-point play. Suddenly the gap is only 8 points. Digbas gets one to the head, down goes Agojo again, and Digbas has caught up 10 points in the blink of an eye. Halfway through this bout, and what seemed to be over, spinning kick doesn't quite make it. Spinning kick's worth more points. Digbas with a wind in his sails. He's trying for the big money shots now. Probably needs to just do what he's been doing the last minute or so. A minute ago, he was 14 points down, or 12, 11 or 12 at the very least. Now he's only 4 adrift, and this tie is wide open. Thrilling stuff. Kick to the head. No, Agojo is the one who records it. Agojo with a kick to the head. Down goes Digbas, an extra point against him, and suddenly the gap is up to 9. It was a kick to the trunk, a kick to the head, and a fall to the mat. Digbas with a kick to the trunk. Agojo with a punch. Good grief, this is frenetic stuff. Spinning kick. Double the points, a 4-pointer for Digbas. It was a kick to the trunk, but it was preceded by a spin, so got him 4 points. Ahmed Digbas, 25. Francis Agojo, 30. What a fight we have on our hands. Back and forth. Well, we have a minute in which to show highlights. We could show that entire second round all over again. Amazing stuff. It was all attack, very little defense, it has to be said. It was, let me see how many points I can score while you're scoring points against me. If I can get a kick to the head and get you to fall over, then it doesn't matter if you kick my trunk. 4 to me, 2 to you. It really is. Two cannons coming up against one another. Get those shin guards around the front. Very healthy crowd in this plenary hall at the Jakarta Convention Center. Waiting to see an Indonesian in action a little bit later on. Ibrahim Zarman in this bottom half of the draw. The winner of this bout will go on to take on Mir Hashem Hosseini of Iran. And who that winner will be, who knows? You'd have thought Agojo, but who knows, in 20 seconds time, maybe we'll be saying that Digbas is 4 points to the good as opposed to 5 points down. Agojo doesn't quite make contact with the head. Agojo can win this one with both of them spinning. Like watching Tekken. Ducks underneath the kick, does Agojo. An attempted punch. Well, amazingly, we are 30 seconds into this final round and nobody's scored a point. Yes, Agojo gets one with a punch. Extends his lead to 6. Then extends it to 9 with a kick to the head. It goes back to 7 with a kick to the punch from Digbas. Digbas 7 points adrift. Time not yet the enemy, since we know he can score points in flurries. But those flurries are going to start coming thick and fast as we get into the final minute, and we're nearly there. No worries about the referee having to separate these two or tell them off for passive play. Down goes Digbas. Agojo will get an extra point, and the gap is now up to 8 points with a minute to go. Into the clinch, and he does have to separate them. Digbas, you have 52 seconds to score 9 points because you've just been sanctioned again for the 5th time. Don't have to worry about the sanctions. It's a maximum of 10. He's 9 points adrift, 40 seconds to go. He got a kick to the head, but the referee had already called them apart. 40 seconds. There's going to have to be a real flurry of action. Lands a punch. Nothing wrong with that. That gets him a point. He's within 8. He knows he can score quickly, but he's just conceded another 2. Agojo up to 38. Down goes Digbas. It's 39-28 with 27 seconds to go. Digbas, what can you do? It's going to be all spinning kicks, and Agojo's going to be able to pick him off if he's a clever fighter. Kicks aren't landing from Digbas. He's got too much to do in the last 15 seconds. Punch from Agojo makes it a 12-point game. Digbas, I think, realizes that the gig is up. Backs off. Punch from Agojo. He's picking him off slowly but surely as the clock winds down. And we ended with a bit of a whimper as opposed to a bang. But what about that was, up until the last 40 seconds or so, where Digbas seemed to lose his game plan or didn't have a plan B. What about that was? And Agojo a worthy winner, 41-28. Highest scoring contest we've had overall in any of the weight categories, because usually it's one-sided. there we had 69 points scored. What an amazing tally. Agojo goes through to face Mir Hashem Hosseini, the number 2 seed, and Asian Championships runner-up in the next round. So plenty for us to watch here. Not the greatest in terms of defense, but certainly the attack was very impressive. Now we're going to take a break from the under-63s, and we are going to move over to the men's under-80 kilo welterweight division. We can see Nikita Rafalovic at the top. He's the 2018 Asian Championships lightweight winner, gold medal winner. Lightweight is a similar weight category. Madi Kodabkshi of Iran, he's the number 2 seed. Great things expected of him. He's been on the podium at the men's welterweight at the Asian Championships the last 3 times, won it in 2015. We're not quite up to that standard yet. Hidenori Ebata of Japan is taking on Dingo Ardian Prayogo. And I think you can guess where he's from, judging by the reception from the crowd. Yes, he is from the home country of Indonesia. These two, round of 32, for the right to take on Saleh El Sharabati of Jordan in the quarterfinals. Dingo Ardan Prayogo, 6 foot tall, 1.80 m. Made the second round of the World Championships last year in Muju, Korea. Quarterfinals of the Asian Championships in Manila 2 years ago. Silver in the SEA Games in the under 74 kilo category. And bronze in the under 54. Which is quite impressive, unless he lost a lot of weight at some point. Ranked 117th in the world at under 68 and 194th in the world at under 74. And here he is fighting, he's weighing in 68 kilos, but fighting in the under 80 welterweight category. So he's going to be giving away a few pounds in what is pretty much a catch-weight contest. Hidenori Ebata. He usually tips the scales at 82 kilos, so he will have had to have spent half an hour or so in the sauna before the weigh-in. 5th in the Asian Games 4 years ago. That was when we were in Incheon. Quarterfinals at the Asian Championships 3 months ago in Ho Chi Minh City. He's ranked number 73 in the world. Plays for the Osaka Taekwondo Association. And he's going to be wearing blue. Very much the favorite. But obviously, Arjan Prayogo has the crowd behind him. Huge fighter is Ebata. 80 kilos, not a gram or more. 6'6". And away we go. It's going to be tough for the Indonesian to overcome this huge height advantage. Referee pulls them apart immediately. Tries to get the leg round to the head. It's a long way up for that leg of his to go. 2 clutches already in the first 16 seconds. There, contact is made by Ebata, and he gets a kick to the head early on. 3 points. Referee's going to have to pull them apart again. He's going to have to sanction one of them. "26 years old, Ebata, turned 26 a couple of weeks ago. Attempted spinning kick from Arjan. Doesn't hit the mark. Arjan turned 21 last week. A week ago today. Arjan, who's studying sports science at the University of Jakarta, just down the road. Yet to land a blow. The crowd thought he had there, and he gets a punch. He missed with the kick to the head, but he got a punch. It's always the way to do it. If you're still on the attack and you can keep your defenses up, then make sure you get something out of the attack. And he's going to get a little more because Ebata has been sanctioned for pushing, so that halves the deficit. 3-2 in what has been a bit of a clutchy and grabby encounter up until now. And then in flies Prayogo. Ebata saw it coming and got a punch in. He then gets a kick to the head, which I do believe has been counted as a spinning kick. So he's going to have a challenge. There's a challenge. There's a challenge. Let's stop the clock, because that ended up being a 5-point play. 6 to Ebata, and then he lost one or gave one to Arjan Prayogo, for falling to the mat. Six points were racked up in favor of Ebata, and it's no wonder that the challenge has been lodged by Arjan's coach. Plenty of discussion. We'll see what the upshot is when they get the video on. Now, what are we going to see here? It was very costly in terms of points for Arjan. Up comes the video to the right of your screen. I'm going to squint down into a slightly larger screen than I can have a look at. Difficult to tell from a distance, other than the fact that here we go. There was looks like the challenge has been upheld. Seemed as if Ebata got Arjan around the neck and dragged him down. The card is going to be given back. The challenge is reinstated, so it was a correct challenge. Now, how much is going to be wiped off? Ebata got Arjan around the neck and dragged him down with that. So, 3 points wiped off. It's a 4-point deficit, so it was worth the challenge, and he maintains the challenge as the Indonesian coach. Spinning kick, a 2-pointer that's doubled for 4. And don't the crowd like that? 7-all, from 10-3 to 7-all. Right, keep your calm, young man, keep your calm. An avoided kick to the head. Arjan went off the mat, so he will lose a point. What's happening here? There is a judge on his feet, Is there a challenge from Ebata's corner? It's all happening here. It's a stop-start affair. Yes, there is a challenge from Ebata's corner. Did seem to be a lot of blows being landed and nothing much being counted.
In court 2, men class under 80 kilogram. In blue corner, Saudi Ibrahim from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Now, let's see what happens.
Versus, in red corner, from Kazakhstan.
Buzzer's just gone off on one of the other courts. Man of India has defeated Pomnavan of Laos and gets through to face Chen Ling-yong, the number 5 seed in the quarterfinals of this welterweight division. Judges taking their time getting the video up. So it has been allowed. So the challenge is allowed, and it's a 3-pointer for Ebata. And yes, they're testing. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be that the sensors are working correctly. There we go. The sensors haven't been working correctly on the protective gear of Ardian Prayogo. So that's maybe why the 3-pointer didn't lodge. So it now is a 3-point game once again. But the crowd will be worth at least 3 points for Ardian. Now, what is the referee doing? Going to get them back to back and see who's taller. Gives the crowd a chance to see themselves on the big screen here. This has been a stop-start contest. Well, what do we have here? Calling up the coaches from either side. Are they saying that the contest is null and void because the sensors haven't been working? The coaches are going to go round to see the judges. Well, whatever has been decided, it was decided quickly and by unanimous consent, so at least there's that. As things stand, 17 seconds to go in the first round. It looks like we're going to get back underway with that being the score. It will have been the sensors weren't working and they said, you know what we could do? We could start this all over again, but are you all right to carry on as we are? Which I think is fair enough. I don't think Arjan will be too disappointed only being 3 points adrift. Make that 2 as Ebata is sanctioned. Kick to the trunk didn't quite hit the mark. Bit of a clinch and a punch gets in there just before the buzzer goes. And Arjan's made this a 1-point game. Got right back in there. A sanction and a point. 3 sanctions against Ebata. Using his height, not always legally. Bit of a push, bit of a pull here and there. You'll have to be careful because it's a maximum of 10 sanctions. So we look back at some of the moments of the opening round. Huge long levers there of Ebata, 6'6", crazy legs crane, getting those limbs going. Wow, that was a big one. It's meant to be contact as opposed to kicking. We say a kick, it's a kick to the trunk. You can't kick to the head because that's dangerous, and that was on the limit there. They have head protectors, but it's meant to be contact as opposed to a kick when it's aimed at the head. Either way, I'm sure there was no malice intended. Ebata 10, Arjan 9. Into the second round, a punch levels it up from Arjan. Referee pulls them apart immediately. That's what Arjan needs to do. He needs to get in there, get inside the long limbs of Ebata. Ebata tries for a kick to the head. Arjan ducks underneath it. That's what he needs to do. He needs to duck underneath and get a kick to the trunk while he's down there. Backing off right on the edge of the mat. And Ebata is sanctioned for the 4th time because he's not really attacking. He's just using his long limbs to push Arjan back. He's not actually trying to make contact. He's just going push, 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 push. Not actually touching him, but stretching out a leg, meaning that Arjan can't come forward. So it's a fake attack. And he's been sanctioned for it 4 times by a very experienced referee who's absolutely on the ball here. Clutch, clutch, get them apart. Kicks raining in, and Ebata takes the lead again with a kick to the trunk. Snip and tuck. Ebata with 4 sanctions, but we're over halfway through this bout. Punch, levels it up. The crowd likes that. They saw it, waited for it to come up on the board, and it did. There was a big punch. Didn't register. Arjan's coach shouting out instructions. I doubt very much whether he'll hear it. He's got a head protector on and the crowd in his ears. Attempted a spin kick, but Ebata had already landed one to the trunk, and he leads by 2. 2 seems like a gulf, a chasm in this incredibly tight contest. 13 seconds to go, 14-12 in favor of the Japanese taekwondo. Clutching and grabbing. 4 seconds to go. Will we see a final flurry? Doesn't appear to be the case. But what we did see was a kick to the head that Ebata sneaked in. A second before the buzzer went, and all of a sudden, what was a 2-point game is now a 5-point contest. Arjan 5 points adrift. That's a big deficit. It's the biggest deficit we've had other than when challenges were being issued. There was a 10-3 at one point that ended up being wiped off. And back to 7-3, but 5 points is the largest deficit we've had in this contest. Elsewhere in this division, Lee Huijun has just defeated Soman Wangchuk of Bhutan. Strange for a Korean not to be seeded and have to go through the round of 32, but he has indeed done that, and he will face Mahdi Kodakshi of Iran in the second round. Five points the difference. Can this Indonesian crowd get them back? Well, there's 2 of the 5 points he needed with a kick to the trunk. Is that another 2? Didn't quite land. It's all Ardian at the moment. A place in the quarterfinals at stake. Spinning kick attempt. Three points adrift with just over a minute to go. Can Ardian parlay the crowd support into a few points? He ducks under the attempted kick to the head. Ebata avoiding sanctions, which is important for him. He's up to 5, I think. Indonesia chants the crowd. Ardian needs to do something. Time not yet the enemy. He's trying the spin kicks. Doesn't need to do it all in one go. Let's get a punch in there. Punch comes from Ebata, and it's a 4-point game. Attempted kick to the head, but he ducks under it. It's less than 30 seconds to go. Ebata looks like he's got this one in the bag. Can Ardian turn it around? He's being clutched in there. Referee drags them apart. 15 seconds to get 4 points. Spinning kick to the head. He gets a kick. Ebata gets one as well. Ardian went down, and it's a 5-point game. They each got a kick to the head, and Ardian lost his balance. The challenge is coming in. Well, I'm not quite sure what the challenge is going to be. There's going to be a challenge on either side. Each player recorded a kick to the head. The judges are coming out. Each player recorded a 3-point kick to the head. Ardian went to ground, so lost another point. 2 points given to Ardian. He's up to 19. So it's a 3-point game with 8 seconds to go. What can he do? He's got to do something. There's only 5 seconds to go. A punch. He's 2 points behind. 2 seconds. Get in there quickly. He tries a spinning kick. Ebata gets a kick to the trunk, and it's Ebata who wins. Ardian disappointed. Ebata goes and commiserates with him. The crowd deflated. Ebata is through 25-20. What about that was in the end? Ebata through to the round of 16, where he will face Saleh El Sharabati of Jordan. Well, what about that was, particularly towards the end. Disappointment, but an excellent performance from young Dingo Ardian Prayogo. Taken off, trying to hide his disappointment. The crowd cheer him. He salutes that crowd. They know he gave his all. Kick to the head that was all important. It was 5 points the difference in the end, but an incredibly close bout that was. 14-18 with 30 seconds to go. It ended up 20-25, that final flurry of points. Back to the men's under 63 kilo competition, and now we are getting into some of the big names. We saw Kuram Mitarshuev earlier winning his round of 32 match, 32-11 over Musako Galucho of Timor-Leste, winning it by points gap, but here he's up against the #1 seed, Zhao Shui. Zhao Shui, the men's bantamweight champion of the world in 2017. Bantamweight is what we are watching here. Perhaps most significantly for Zhao, at a lower weight category, under 58 kilos, he lifted the gold medal at the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro 2 years ago. That same weight category, he won the East Asian Games 5 years back. He's currently ranked #5 in the world in this weight category. Studied physical education at Southwest University in Chongqing. Plays for the Jiangsu province. So yes, flyweight gold winner in Rio, and he'll be looking to win bantamweight in Tokyo in 2 years' time. But at the moment, all he is focusing on is the Asian Games, as he gets his campaign underway. There we are seeing the coach of Mitarshuev, who got his campaign off to a good start earlier this morning. And away we go. Zhao in blue, tapping away at his protective leg gear. Mitarshuev coming out and showing attacking intent. But sanctioned already by the referee. It's not what you need when you're taking on the #1 seed and a Rio gold medalist. Two. They're saying that Metarshuev isn't actually attacking, he's just waving a leg around. Two sanctions in the first 30 seconds, so Metarshuev's going to have to be careful. Punch is landed, but it didn't make contact with the sensors. No scoring shots as yet. There's the first one from Zhao. Kick to the trunk. Metarshuev aiming for the head, but it's Zhao who makes contact there. Zhao, who is listed at 6'2". He looks taller than that. Joao can tend to stand back and then pick off his opponent with a kick to the trunk. 9 points the difference. Can he make it double figures before we get to the end of this first round? The answer is yes, he can. Metarshuev with a punch, but Joao with a kick to the head, and he leads 12-1 in what was a very professional display from the Rio flyweight champion. See the height difference and the extra length of limb that Zhao has on his side. Using it to good effect, getting the inside of the leg to make contact with the head, and then the sole of the foot scraped down. Has to be foot on helmet for it to register, and that certainly did right at the very end. Out come the athletes again at the behest of the referee, who was behesting away and no one was paying any attention. Have you got the mouth guard in, he asks. Athletes bow to the judges and we will be underway again. Yep, showing the mouth guard. Very important in any combat or contact sport. (12-1) second round. A reminder that if there is a 20-point gap, there's a 13-point as a kick is registered, but it's going to be down to 12 points as Zhao went off the mat. If we get to a 20-point gap by the end of the second round or at any time in the third round, then the points gap rule, the mercy rule, comes into play and the bout will be over. Referee calls them apart. Out of the clinch, and back we go. Kick landed by Metarshuev. Gets the deficit back to 10. Attempted kick to the head, but Metarshuev weaves out of the way, tries to land a punch, doesn't make contact.
Under 63 kilograms from blue corner, Harun Khan from Pakistan.
That was a kick to the head. A glancing blow, but that was all that was needed. 13 points now the difference. Zhao won't be in any great hurry to finish this off inside the distance. Or at least not by the end of the second round, but I'm sure at some point inside the third round he'd like to have enough points on the board to have it called. There's a kick to the trunk. 15 clear, 16 clear as Metashuev hasn't been showing attacking intent. 15 seconds for Joao to get a quick 4 points. There's 3 of them with a kick to the head. Sanctioned, 24 points. It's a 20-point game. So at the end of the second round, that could be it. Metashuev 2 seconds to keep himself alive. He doesn't. I don't think the combatants have realized. It's not been called yet. He's calling them back out. Metashuev doesn't realize. His coach doesn't realize. But that is it. Zhao wins by points gap. This is going to be quite a surprise as he goes down to shake hands with his opponent. And there we go. (24-4). Snuck it in there just inside the distance with a kick to the head and then the late sanction. 24-4 and Zhao is through inside the distance in the minimum of time spent. Just the 2 rounds. That's what it's like when you're a Rio gold medalist. The cream of the crop. Now we're going to be sticking with the men's bantamweight category. That's the under 63. The crowd with cheering at the moment as off camera on court number 3, Ibrahim Zarman is taking on Hassan Khan of Pakistan. We saw Hassan Khan in action earlier, who won very impressively. And it's 4-all in that bout, as Zarman has just recorded a kick to the trunk to equalise. As you can see from the applause of the crowd there. On screen for us, it's going to be Hassan Shuba, who came through the round of 32, and he is going to take on Ho Chia-sin of Chinese Taipei, who's the number 4 seed in the top half of the draw, slated to meet Zhao Shui in the semi-finals. There's plenty of action to come before we can even talk about the semi-finals. Those will be in the afternoon session. It is Hassan Shuba of the United Arab Emirates. Shuba, who got through his round of 32 match against Yemen's Ahmed Salim Ali Al-Hulaki. 18-15, so that was a tight one. He's 5'10". So we're giving away a few inches to that man there, Ho Chia-sin. Quarter-finalist in the World Championships in Wuzhou last year. Quarter-finals of the Asian Championships in Ho Chi Minh City 3 months ago. Bronze medal winner at the Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games in Ashgabat last year, ranked number 43 in the world in this weight category. Sensors tested. Protective gear on. And away we go. First kick to the head comes from the number 4 seed. A punch from Ho makes it 4-0. A kick to the trunk and another one. 30 seconds in and it's an 8-point lead. Almost a kick to the head there. Schubart on the back foot. Schubart backing off there. And then gets into a clinch. The referee says it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Pulls them apart and puts them back in. Scoring has calmed down. There were 8 points in the first 30 seconds, nothing in the 30 after that. Punch over the top from Ho. Another punch. 10 points already. Schubart yet to get off the mark. Schubart hits the deck. That'll be a point against him. Off balance there. He was coming straight at Ho. Ho got out of the way. So the lead is now 12 points. Schubart still to trouble the scorers, other than with his sanctions. A punch from Ho, who is picking his opponent apart, slowly but very surely. Big cheers as Zarman and Khan go toe-to-toe, 13-14 in favour of the Pakistani after 2 rounds. 10 seconds to go here. And it has been all Ho Chia-sin up until now. Giving a little nod, saying, come on, come at me. Referee calls them apart. I think a sanction was a second or two away from coming there, but the buzzer came in first. 13 points to 0 for Ho Chia-sin. Hassan Subar has found himself on the mat a couple of times. Once where he lost his balance, once where he went flying in for a kick and completely missed. The fighter in red has dominated thus far. Well, the UAE coach is going to have to earn his corn here. His protege is 13 points down, has yet to register a scoring blow. Round 2 is underway. And remember, the points gap rule could come into effect if Ho Chia-sin manages to carry on scoring points, as he does. One to the head, that's another 3-pointer. And Ho very kindly tells Schubart that with that kick to the head, he had undone his protective helmet. So that's strapped back up, get the Velcro back on. Off screen there, the screams you can hear is that Zarman of Indonesia has taken the lead. Ho misses with a kick and Schubart is off the mark, courtesy of his opponent. Yet to land a scoring blow himself, though. "15 points the difference." Show+Var showing some intent. Not a lot being shown by Hall. He needs to get in there and land a blow or two, otherwise the referee might have a word with him. It's been a while since he has. Leaning forward with the foot there. Has to try to make contact. He can't just parry with it. He seems to be locking legs a lot. Did that get round to the head? Not quite. Underway again. Better round for Show+Var, but he's still a long way adrift. Down he goes. The gap will go up to 16 with 36 seconds to go in this second round. A punch is recorded, 17 points the difference. Referee pulls them apart. Ten seconds to go, 17 points the difference in this second round. Quick kick to the head, and Ho could see this off inside the distance, but he's not going to go for that. It's Show+Var who attempts the kick to the head. He's sanctioned a point. No, they are pulled at. Yes, he is. It's 18 points the difference. And unseen by you, but seen by me, Zarman has taken the lead, 22-21 with 12 seconds to go. Fallen to the ground while scoring a three-pointer, and it's 22-all with 12 seconds to go, and a challenge has come in. A lot better second round for Show+Var. He's still 18 points adrift and staring down the barrel of a points gap defeat. But he showed a lot more defensive prowess in that second round against an opponent who is the number 4 seed after all. Fans going wild there for the bout. That's on court 3, involving an Indonesian, which is going to restart at 22-all with a few seconds to go. We, meanwhile, have 2 minutes to go, but will it go the distance? It is not going the distance. A kick to the head means that Ho Chia-sin records the 3 points, gets a 21-point gap, and he wins by dint of the point gap. Well, the screaming that you can hear is that Ibrahim Zarman has defeated Hassan Khan 25-22. So he is through to the quarterfinals, and we'll see him later on. But this bout was decided far earlier. As we can see there, a kick to the head, made contact. That made it a 21-point gap, and that was all she wrote in that third round. Merely needed a few seconds, and then the gap was over 20 points in the third round. That means that the tie is called, meaning that we can move on even more quickly.
From blue corner,
Sticking with the bantamweight,
Uzbekistan,
the men's under 63 kilo matches.
Temujin Purija from Mongolia. In Taiwan, men class under 63 kilograms. In blue corner, Sardar
We're going to have Sardor Toirov of Uzbekistan, and he is taking on Chalinda Sampat Lianage of Sri Lanka. Sardor Toirov, who defeated Chun Soklong 25-5, so by points gap. Around an hour ago, he was out on the mat in the round of 32. And this is the man he will be taking on. Both of them had to get through round of 32. Lianage defeating Masanojo Homa of Japan 21-18. That was a tight bout. Toirov is the number 7 seed, but he had to go through the round of 16. As mentioned, he did so via points gap, so cruised through. 6'3" is Lianage. So he's got a real height advantage, good 3 inches at least over Toirov. Uzbekistan been among the medals. Shokin getting a silver yesterday, and Svetlana Ospitova a bronze. Toirov hits the mat early on, and it's the first point going the way of Lianage. Toirov with the first kick, though, and he gets the first scoring blow landed. And another kick to the trunk from Toirov. And a third one. Racking up the points. Seems to be able to get under his taller opponent's defenses almost at will. The only point he's conceded has been via a tumble to the mat. Lianage yet to record a scoring blow. Referee calls them apart, puts them back together. Toirov with another kick to the trunk. That buzzes from elsewhere. We've still got a few seconds to go. The taekwondos continue. And there is our buzzer. 8-1 to Sardor Toirov. Managed to keep his opponent off the board, other than for that penalty point that he gave away. Toirov, who made the second round of the World Championships in this bantamweight division last year in Muju, and was a bronze medalist in Ho Chi Minh City at the Asian Championships just 3 months ago, losing to Cho Gang-min of Korea in the final. Away we go with the second round. Again, Toirov with a kick to the trunk. It's worked for him 5 times in the first 145 seconds. Finally, Lianage gets on the board with a kick to the trunk himself. In this weight division, Cho Gangmin, the number 3 seed, has just defeated Al Mabruk. So it'll be Cho versus Zarman of Indonesia in the quarterfinals. A punch from Lianage gets him another point. He's been making a better fist of things in this second round. Toirov now on the attack.
In blue corner, Francis Alan from Philippines. Versus in red corner, Hassan Hosseini from Islamic Republic of Iran.
The referee pulls them apart, and there's not been a lot to write home about in this second round. Not as yet. Will it come to life in the final 20 seconds? We shall see. Yet another kick to the trunk from Toirov. And that'll be that from the second round. Toirov keeping his opponent at arm's length, literally and, well, more metaphorically than literally, since he has the shorter limbs. He's managing this fight well. The winner here will play the winner of the bout that's about to start on court number 2 between Francis Agojo of Philippines and the number 2 seed, Mir Hashim Hosseini of Iran. The Korean coach of Toirov from Uzbekistan. If you're going to have a coach who's not from the same country as you, then get one from Korea. Because if there's anyone who knows about Taekwondo, it's the Koreans. It's their national sport. They came to these Asian Games with 53 gold medals in their history at this event in Taekwondo. They've added another 4 over the past 3 days. Maybe a few more to come. Away we go, the final round. Toirov leading it 12-4. Making that 14-4 with, you guessed it, a kick to the trunk. 7 of them so far. Make that 8. Racking them up, picking them off. If it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Attempted a kick to the head. Didn't quite make contact. Difficult with a taller opponent. Stick to the kicks to the trunk, Sandor. That's what he does. Records another one. He's 14 clear. Don't think we're quite going to get up to the point. We might. The 10th kick to the trunk makes it 24. Another 2 of those, and the contest will be over. One on either side. Toirov trying to finish it off with a kick to the head. He's 16 points clear, so another 4 points and we'll finish this inside the distance. Otherwise, he is well clear with 40 seconds to go. Always nice to finish one off inside the distance. Yeah. A little extra buzz, particularly when you're going to play a top seed in the following round, as is likely the case for him. Number 2 seed, Hosseini. Not there just yet, though. Toirov remaining within himself at the moment. Lianage not throwing everything at him, not throwing the kitchen sink at him in an attempt to get back. There are just 10 seconds to go. Looks as if Lianage has accepted his fate. Recorded a victory in the round of 32, so he can go home reasonably happy. But with that parried attempted kick to the head, the contest is over. Toirov, Sardo Toirov of Uzbekistan defeats Lianage of Sri Lanka 22-6 to move through to the quarterfinals. And there he will face the winner of Hosseini and Agojo. Hosseini leading 5-1, but we're barely a minute into that fight. And the highlights here, attempted kicks to the head, but what we're going to see mainly is kicks to the trunk, because that was a mightily effective weapon of Toirov, 11 of them in total. And why go to plan B when plan A is working? While the Thai fans check the scores, we are going to move from bantamweight to welterweight. We're going to go over to the men's under 80s. Afghanistan's Ramesh Hosseini taking on Bhupen Shrestha of Nepal, as the two of them open their accounts in the round of 16. Hosseini, 6'2", 80 kilos, right on the limit. Made the second round of the Asian Championships 3 months ago in Ho Chi Minh City, ranked 146 in the world. Bhupen Shrestha, still a teenager, 19 years old, he's only 5'9". Less experienced of the two. Hosseini only turned 19 himself last month. He's been doing the rounds for a couple of years. They are in the top quarter of the bracket, so they will have to come up against Nikita Rafalovic, most likely in the quarterfinals, who's runner-up at the men's lightweight event at the last 2 World Championships. He was also runner-up at the Asian Games in the lightweight 4 years ago. Away we go. Shrestha already at the limit of the mat. Punch is landed and Hosseini gets off the mark first. Down goes Shrestha, and that'll be another point to Hosseini. A punch gets Shrestha off the mark. And he's level with another punch. Punches being traded. Hosseini and Shrestha 2 each, and then a kick to the head. It's going to cost him a point, but it's gained him another 3. So a 2-point benefit overall. Attempted kick to the head there from Hosseini, which Shrestha ducks underneath. That one almost made contact with the head. Shrestha stretching out those long limbs of his, Hosseini ducking underneath, and it's 6-3 at the end of the first round in favour of the taekwondo from Afghanistan. Interesting opening round between two inexperienced fighters. Certainly performing well. Got off to the bout with a bang. Plenty of blows, attempted blows. Fair few punches. That was the weapon of choice, or the blow of choice. The scoring shot of choice to begin with. And very effective it is. Only gets you the 1 point, but if you can rack those up, then it certainly helps. A dab in the crowd there from one of the Indonesian youngsters. We'll have none of that. Let's get back to the action. Attempted kick to the head, and it does indeed make contact from Hosseini, and he doubles his lead. That then goes down to 4 as Shrestha lands a kick to the trunk, and up to 5 as he hits the deck and concedes a penalty point. Swinging punch lands on the trunk protector, and it's 11-5 to Hosseini. Referee pulls them apart. Sanction against Shrestha. 7 points the difference. Shrestha on the edge of the mat. Contact made with the head, so it's 3 points to Hosseini. He will lose 1 for going down, but if you can gain 2 overall, why not? That's twice he's done that. An interesting tactic, and if it gains you a net 2, then why not? Another kick to the head, and this one's a pure 3 points. And a mandatory count. Another kick to the head and 1 to the trunk. It's going to be another count there. All of a sudden, it's a 17-point game, and we're barely halfway through the second round. It was 6-3. And it's 17-3 in a mere 54 seconds in the second round. That's the scoring in the second round alone. So a 17-point gap, 23-6, Hosseini leads. He's a mere 3 points away from the 20-point gap that he would need to win this inside the distance. Shrestha tries a kick, punch, doesn't land it. Half a minute to go. Can Hosseini finish it inside the distance? Finishing it at the earliest opportunity would be the end of the second round, but if he gets to a 20-point lead at any point in the third round, it will also be called. Come on, lads, get in there. Well, the gap is going to go down to 16 as Hosseini hits the deck once again. It's the third time this has happened. So he's not going to finish it before the end of the second round, but he's not far off. Well, the scoreboard isn't ticking around here. Rather, the clock isn't. Now it is. So he's been given an extra few seconds there. I don't think it's going to be enough for Hosseini to finish it off. It's not. Back they go to their corners. But that second round certainly belonged to the Afghan. Shrestha a little overwhelmed in that second round. Kicks to the head coming in. Hosseini happy to give up one if he could win three. Shrestha hitting the deck himself. There was a kick to the face that was a three-pointer and necessitated a standing 8 count. Away we go, round 3. Can Shrestha pull off a comeback for the ages, or will Hosseini either nurse his advantage or fire in there with a couple of kicks to the trunk and finish it off quick, smart? Attempted a spinning kick that would have got him the 4 he needs. He's going for the head. Referee's going to call them apart. There's a little bit of equipment that's fallen off. Hosseini's coach, obviously the happier of the two. Kick to the trunk doesn't register. No scoring shots in the first 35 seconds here. Hosseini not going all out for the win inside the distance. Ref calls them apart. 45 seconds and no score in this third round. Hosseini seems to want to finish it off with a spinning kick, which would count double and get him the 4 points he needs. Shrestha not really looking to get things back. Shrestha not showing enough attacking intent. So that's a 17-point gap. A kick to the head would now do it for Hosseini. Kick to the trunk doesn't register. Just trying the spinning kick. The clock ticks down. Not a lot to get our teeth into in this final round. Husseini clock watching, there we go. Gets a kick to the trunk. Come on, Ramesh, finish it off inside the distance. Go out with a bang. Does the punch do it? It does. A punch does it. It's a 20-point gap, and Ramesh Husseini wins it 27-7. No, they're carrying on. The judge is trying to say finish it off, but that's surely it. Shake hands, gentlemen. Blue over to the blue corner. And it's a 28-7 win in the end for Ramesh Husseini. Ramesh Husseini, who will face most likely Nikita Rafalovic in the quarterfinals, the #1 seed, so he's going to have to look a little more alive than he did in that final round there, where he really was just managing the clock, trying to nurse his advantage home. Watch some of the highlights there. Not a lot in the way of highlights in the final round, but throughout, Husseini was the one taking the game to his opponent. Very much a worthy winner. I'm going to stick with the welterweight category and move on to the #3 seed, Liu Weiting of Chinese Taipei, who is taking on Nurlan Mirzabayev of Kazakhstan, who defeated Saudi's Brahim Almulawad in the first round. There was a preliminary there. Liu, big tall fella, he is opening his account here. Nurlan Mirzabayev had a round of 16 match, rather a round of 32 match. This is the round of 16. So he's got a little bit of competition under his belt already. Liu Weiting, 6'5", and was 82 kilos before the tournament started, so he too will have been in the sauna for a day or two. Finished 9th in this category, the welterweight, 4 years ago in Incheon. Quarter-finalist in the Rio Olympics as well. So I'm disappointed not to have got a medal. Looking to put that right this time around. Second in the Asian Championships 2 years ago in Manila. Didn't compete in Ho Chi Minh City a few months ago. Ranked number 20 in the world. Studies finance at the Taiwan University of Sport. He suffered a fractured left arm around 9 months ago, which kept him out of action for a while. Two very tall fighters. It's going to be an interesting battle. A few kicks, a few shrugs of the shoulder to get us underway. Kick to the trunk, but doesn't register. Mirzabayev defeated Almulawad 12-1 in the opening round. He's ranked number 31 in the world, so certainly no mug. as a Korean coach. A minute in, and no score between the two. Well, this is an observation round, isn't it? Almost playground stuff. I'll push you, you push me. When are the blows going to start raining in? Referee happy to let them engage in a little dance, very slow dance around the ring. Push one of those arms every so often and that's it. Well, that first round that's about to be buzzed off was fairly worth filming that. It's going to be tough for any highlights to be shown here. Let's call it a two-round contest. Certainly not going to, well, just going to finish inside the distance because there's only another 2 rounds to come and I don't count that as a round. And indeed, yes, there shall be no highlights to be shown. There were no highlights, only lowlights. Hopefully the coaches will tell them to get out there and get in amongst them. It's not really the coach's job though, it's the referees. And the referee, yes, it's the job of the referee as opposed to the judges. The referee's in there on court herself and she has to do the gesture of getting the fists together, pumping the elbows, which means get in there and get in amongst one another. That lady there calls them back out. And she needs to say, give the fans in the plenary hall and watching at home something to enjoy. And hopefully this won't be a case of second verse, same as the first. A little bit of movement. Come on, referee, you have to get involved here. The referee needs to sanction both players, not that that will particularly make a huge difference, but something needs to happen. Halfway through the bout, and we've not had a scoring shot, and we've barely had any attacking intent. The referee content to let them push one another around, using their 6'6" frames to very little effect indeed. The referee at least says get in amongst them, but sanctions need to be handed out here. And once again, a damp squib of a round fizzles out with a whimper, not a bang. And that lady there needs to take some responsibility for that. We have had 4 minutes. I was going to say 4 minutes of Taekwondo. We haven't. It was nominally of Taekwondo, but nothing has happened whatsoever. This is a poor display on both sides. Nothing happening at all. Well, the winner of this, if there is a winner, will face either Alairmi Ali of Qatar or Akbar Aytakunov of Kazakhstan. Hopefully those two have got a bit more about them. Still little to get our teeth into. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here as this bout comes to an end. Referee still happy to let them push and shove, but to no great effect. Five minutes of taekwondo and not a single scoring shot. No penalties either. The referee off-screen gestures for them to get in amongst it, but she needs to do far more than that. It's going to be, no, she's broken them apart. What's happening? There has been a challenge. Where on earth has this challenge come from? Well, they're going to test the sensors. I think they need to do far more than that. They need to test the fighter's reflexes. Please don't say we're going to start all over again. 45 seconds to go. After that, there'll be a golden point round. Is anyone actually going to go for anything, or are we going to wait for the golden point round? Kicks. Haven't seen a single punch thrown. I've seen a few kicks attempted. No attempts at a kick to the head. Less than half a minute. Breaks them apart because some of the equipment is coming apart. 25 seconds to go before we are forced to sit through yet more of this sterile taekwondo. One of you two, put us out of our misery, please. Land a blow. Well, this is going to go to a golden point round, and to be brutally honest, neither of these two deserves to get through. A punch, yes, and a kick. 3 seconds to go. Suddenly, it all kicks off. 1 second to go, and he backs off, and he's won it. Mirzabayev wins it. He's sanctioned 1 point, but he doesn't care. He landed a punch and a kick in the dying seconds, and Liu Weiting, that will serve you right for doing nothing for 6 minutes. You are the number 3 seed, and you stood back for 6 minutes. Mirzabayev of Kazakhstan is through in one that is not going to go down in the annals, but he is through to the quarterfinals, so fair play to him. Not a single scoring shot from that man, not a blow landed. He woke up with 5 seconds to go when it was too late. That is not what taekwondo is about. It's pretty easy to pick the highlight reel because it was the last 10 seconds. A punch got us underway. A kick made it 3-0. And then with 1 second to go, all that Mirzabayev had to do was scurry away and make sure he didn't concede any big points. going to stick with the heaviest weight category. And hopefully, since we're going to have a Korean, we will get a bit more to watch. A bit more technique. Lee Hwa-jun leads us out. But the man of the moment is the number 2 seed, Mahdi Kodabkshi of Iran. Mahdi Kodabkshi, number 2 seed. The only man to have finished on the podium in the men's welterweight event at the last 3 World Championships. 2015, 16, 17, and he won in 2015. And he is the reigning Asian Games champion, defeating Maxim Rafalovich in the final 4 years ago in Incheon. It's Maxim Rafalovich, not brother Nikita, who is the number 1 seed this time around. Lee Hwa-jun, 6'1", but as you can see, he's given away a few inches to his opponent. Sensors tested. Lee, who defeated Somam Wangchuk of Bhutan 36-2 in the space of 2 rounds earlier this morning. Well, this is more like it. This is certainly different from what we saw over the past 10 minutes. Kodabkshi lands a kick. Lee Hwa-jun scrabbling around. Off the mat goes Kodabkshi. Lee is off the mark. A couple of street fighters here, as opposed to the slow dancers we had in the last bout. Lee lands a couple of kicks, takes a 5-2 lead. Was Kodabkshi off the mat again? He was. It's 6-2 to Lee. Fast and furious from the Korean. Punch doesn't land from Kodabkshi. Kick doesn't quite land, even though we could hear it. Kodabkshi again on the limit of the mat. Punch from Kodabkshi gets the deficit back to 3. Lee seems to have calmed down a little bit. Gets in there with a kick to the trunk. Lee leads it 8-3. Referee happy to let these two get on with things, sorting it out amongst themselves. Another punch from Kodabkshi, that's his blow of choice. As much as I like the punch, he's 4 points adrift, so unless he's going to carry it, well, he may well carry on punching. Reduces the deficit little by little, getting them in singles. Too passive from Kodabkshi, so gives away the benefit of the last punch. And he is 5-9 down as the men go back to their corners after 2 minutes of far more interesting taekwondo than we had in the last match. Seeing some of the early flurries there where Lee's attacks pushed Kodabakshi off the mat, earning Lee a point on 2 occasions. Kodabakshi preferring the punch. All 5 of his points coming via that route. A kick from Kodabakshi halves the deficit. No doubt a few words of wisdom from his coach during the break. Trying again with the punches and the accompanying roars. A punch this time from Lee. Edges him back a little further in front. Then a kick. And the gap is up to 5. That flag needs to be waved. Kodabakshi falling adrift. Referee has to tear them apart. Punch again from Kodabakshi, but it was over the top. Obviously can't punch to the head. Has to be to the protector, and it has to land on the coloured part of the protector. Kick from Kodabakshi, and he's back within 3. This is a tight bout. Lee attempts the punch, gets a kick to the head. The gap is up to 6. This fight's certainly going to go the distance. Even more so as there has been a challenge. No, the judges are coming up. No challenge issued. Now, what are the judges talking to the referee about? We are back underway.
Men class under 63 kilograms. In blue corner, swears out from China.
A kick from Lee, a punch from Kodabakshi. Late flurry as this second round comes to an end. An attempted kick to the head. Kodabakshi ducks underneath it. He's 7 points adrift. He wants to get a score in before the end of this round, and he's not going to manage it. Kick to the head, too late from Lee, but he is 7 points to the good and just 2 minutes away from victory in this round of 16. 2 minutes away from a quarter-final. Punches raining in. There we go. Punches the protector and then punches the air. Risky tactic. Korean flags being waved. Lee Hwa-jun, 7 points clear. 2 minutes away from a quarter-final berth. Certainly deserved it thus far. It's been a very good bout. Referee breaks them apart. Lee has been pulling, so that's his deficit reduced. That's Kotobakshi's deficit reduced to 6 points. Every point counts, every point helps. And then Lee gets in there with a sneaky kick. Gets it back up to 8 points. Gives another one away. So it's as you were, a 7-point gap, but 30 seconds have been eaten away off the clock. Time no longer the friend of Kotobakshi. He's only scored 12 points in 4.5 minutes. There he gets a punch. He needs more than that. He was trying for a kick for the head. Reins in another punch. He's going to get him in singles. A punch and 2 sanctions have helped him thus far in this round. He's 5 points clear. There is going to be a challenge as well from Kotobakshi's coach. Now, what is the challenge for? Let's have a look when the video evidence comes down. There is 1 minute and 3 seconds to go, a 5-point deficit. It's given the coach a chance to bark out a few more instructions. Coach wanted to know whether the sensors were working correctly. Another punch. He's happy to get them in singles. He's 4 adrift. Less than a minute to go. Tries another punch. It's a great one. There's the kick. 2 points in it. He's going for the punches all the time, Kotobakshi. And then the kick used as a change-up caught Lee by surprise. He's kicking at thin air there. 30 seconds to go, 2 points in it. Kotobakshi has been behind all bout. A sanction could come in here. Go for a punch and kick combo. A kick on either side. Still 2 points in it, 20 seconds to go. Referee's going to have to pull them apart. No sanction, 14 seconds. Punch over the top, but a kick from Lee. A kick from Kotobakshi. And a sanction against him for pulling. The challenge has come in. 10 seconds to go, and it's a 2-point game. They're going to challenge the sanction, I would have thought, the Iranians. The challenge is being looked at on video. 10 seconds, a 4-point gap. 4 points is difficult to get. 3, if it goes back to 3, when the sanction's wiped off, then that can be done with a kick to the head. 4, you need a combination or a spinning kick. Koreans seeing their man with a 4-point lead and 10 seconds to go. I'm not able to see what the judges are looking at the moment. Right now it's on the screen. And I'm going to squint at. And we're now being shown it as well. Because a kick was registered So their punch was registered, then a kick, and the scoreboard clicks round to 22. It's been overruled. The challenge overruled, and it's still a 4-point game with 10 seconds to go. It's going to be very difficult for Kodabakshi to do anything. A punch gets him within 3. Tries to land a kick. Lee Hwa-jun is down. It's a 2-point game with a second to go. Lee's going to back off. And Lee wins it 24-22. Kodabakshi complaining to the referee, there's nothing he can do. Just about shakes the hand of Lee, and Lee made all the running. It was an excellent comeback from Kodabakshi, but Lee made all the running and just about deserves his berth after what was a very good round of 16 tie. So the number 2 seed, Mandeep Kodabakshi, is out. Still sitting there on the mat, distraught. He needed to make more of the running earlier on. But Lee, well, never pick against the Koreans. If there's a Korean in any Taekwondo bout, he's going to be favoured, or she. 4 gold medals already in Taekwondo at these 18th Asian Games. And now the outsider, Hwa-jun, Lee Hwa-jun, who had to come through a round of 32 before this round of 16 tie, has knocked out the number 2 seed. And if he'll be thinking, if I can do that, I can beat anyone in this draw. Well, we're going to go back to welterweight action, and to the delight of the crowd, we're going to have what could be one heck of a contest. Cho Gang-min from Korea taking on local favourite Zarman Ibrahim. And listen to the crowd's reaction when the Indonesian comes out. Cho Gang-min is the Asian Championships winner at bantamweight. Won that title 3 months ago in Ho Chi Minh City. But all eyes are on the 6'4" figure of Ibrahim Zarman, who squeezed past qualifier Harun Khan of Pakistan 25-21 around an hour ago. The Asian Championships 2 years ago in Manila, Zarman got a bronze medal, and he won at the SEA Games last year. This is going to be a different kettle of fish, however. Zarman has a Korean coach in his corner, Lee Sun-jae. Zarman is from Pekanbaru, where he plays for the Riau club. Crowd getting right behind him. This is in the bottom half of the draw, with the winner taking on the winner of Sardor Toyrov, whom we saw earlier, and Mirashim Hosseini. In the top half of the draw, the number 1 seed, Shui Zhao of China, has just qualified. Gang Min opens the scoring with a punch. Not as tall as Zarman, giving away at least 6 inches. He's the one with all the technique. Off the mat goes Zarman. So that's another point against him. However, in between times, he'd registered a kick, so it's 2-all. Again, off the mat goes Zarman. 3-2 down. Few discussions going on, the referee and the judges. A kick was registered that the judges saw that the referee wasn't sure about, and they didn't come up on the sensor. So that's another 2 points to Cho. Punch from Cho gets him an extra point, and indeed there is a sanction. I thought that was going to be forgotten there by the referee, but no, that's a 3rd sanction, 3 times that Zarman has been off the mat. Very much on the back foot, literally and metaphorically. He's going to go off the mat again. Zarman is leaning into Cho. Cho trying to push him off so he can get some room. Zarman trying to cramp him. A kick from Cho. 9-2. Half a minute to go in this opening round. Things getting away from the Indonesian a little early. Tries to get a kick to the head. Not a lot to encourage the crowd. Another kick to the trunk from Cho. They're trying to get behind their man. Attempted kick to the head. Kick to the head misses. Zarman hits the deck. That's his 4th sanction. 10 points the difference. Big kick to the trunk but doesn't land. That one does land, and Cho is going to go back to his corner with a 12-point lead. And it's going to be all that Zarman can do to try to make sure that this contest isn't over inside 2 rounds. Very, very difficult when you're taking on the number 1 seed. Seeing the highlights from the opening round, punches and kicks being rained, being fired in by Cho. Zarman managed 1 kick to the trunk. He tried to use his height, but off balance. Went off the mat 3 times. Crashed down to the mat another time, so that's 4 sanctions he gave up. Round 2 underway, and Zarman immediately gets in there with a kick. Don't think the crowd have quite realised that. So the deficit's back to 10. Now they get behind their man. Perhaps a few words of wisdom from his Korean coach during the break, but he's off the mat again, and that's a 5th sanction. So the gap is back to 11 points. A kick gets past the arm defenses of Zarman, and Cho leads 17-4. Zarman still leaning in, trying to cramp Cho for room. Another kick gets in there. You can hear those resonating. 15 points the difference. Cho gets sanctioned this time for pushing. Say Zarman's leaning into him, but Cho must be used to larger, taller fighters. Zarman just falling all over him there. Needs to keep his defenses up though. Use his arms for protection. Get in there, says the referee. Attempted punch. You see Zarman leading with his chest. A kick from Cho, but two from Zarman. A good little flurry there from the man in red. Gets the crowd on his side again. Cho with another kick, but look at that from Zarman. All of a sudden, this is only an 8-point game. Raining those blows into the head, and that's the way you score the big points. Cho a little bit taken by surprise there. I think he thought he'd got this one in the bag, probably inside the distance. And all of a sudden, they're going to go back to their corners. Oh, a late blow from Cho just before the buzzer went, and it's a 10-point contest once again, so very much the favourite, the Korean, but Zarman scoring plenty of points in that second round. Give him lots of confidence. Seeing Zarman's coach. A few words of wisdom from him after the first round. Certainly his first bout, the first round seemed to get his charge fired up. The crowd certainly helping as well. So what can Zarman come up with in the final 2 minutes? Will we see a miracle? The crowd would certainly like to have one. Referee pulls them apart. Punch over the top, doesn't register. Attempted kick to the head, doesn't make contact. That's what Zarman needs. He needs the 3-pointers, and he's got one. He's within 7. It's what got him back towards the end of the second round. 7 points in it. Imagine if Zarman can pull off an absolute shock here. Minute and a half to go, 7 points in it. Zarman's coach shouting on from the sidelines. Referee's going to pull them apart. Doesn't have to. All it's going to take is a little kick to the trunk protector from Cho to quieten the crowd down, but he's not doing that at the moment. Sanction for pulling in against Zarman. It's 8 points now. Cho happy to wait. Referee happy to let him. A minute to go. Can Zarman, he's pulled back 2 points this round. Almost off the edge of the mat. He is now, but the sanction is going against Cho for pushing. It's a 7-point game with a minute to go. Zarman's still in this. It'll be highly unlikely. It'll be the comeback of the century. Punch from Cho takes it up to 8 points. Zarman needs to get room there. Cho is coming in there, not giving him any room. 40 seconds to go. Zarman needs to go. All guns blazing. It's a 10-point game as Cho registers a kick. Zarman gets a 3-pointer. Cho a 2-pointer. Blows raining in left, right and centre. Zarman looking a little tired, not sure what to do with 20 seconds to go. He needs 9 points. He only needs 7. He gets a kick to the trunk. He's being held. Referee gives him 15 seconds to try and turn this around. It's a 9-point game. Cho backs off. A spin, a kick gets in there. It's 12 points with 5 seconds to go. 11 points after a sanction. But it's not going to matter. What a valiant effort from Zarman. The crowd muted in their applause, but they should give him a bit more than that. A wonderful display from the #1 seed, Cho Gangmin. And what a fight from Ibrahim Zarman. Certainly gave it all he had and gave the crowd something to enjoy there. (26-25). When you can push the #3 seed all the way, then you know you've done well. That was how he leapt up and got a touch, a three-pointer to the head there, Zarman. See him taking off and then with that right foot slapping down perfectly with the sole of the shoe. But there, a leaping kick to the trunk, 2 points. Brave display from Zarman. Won't get a medal for it, but an excellent effort. Well, we have one more bout to show you today, and that's going back into the welterweight category. Chen Linglong of China against Saleh El-Sarabati of Jordan. Chen Linglong, the #5 seed, against El-Sarabati, the #4 seed. So a big lineup, this one. It's the only quarter of the draw that has 2 seeds. Tough one for Linglong. You've got to buy through to these quarterfinals. Well, you got to buy through to the round of 16 and then defeated Navjeet Man of India. El-Sarabati got to buy through to the round of 16 as well, and then defeated Ebata of Japan. Chen, who won 2016 over Man in the round of 16. Got a silver medal in the welterweight category 4 years ago in Incheon at the Asian Games. Won the Asian Championships at welterweight just 3 months ago at Ho Chi Minh City. Ranked number 28 in the world, 6'4". And there's the Jordanian coach that we've seen plenty of throughout this tournament. Coached Juliana Al-Sadek to gold. So Jordan already doing very well at Taekwondo at these 18th Asian Games. Cagey opening. There are some attacks, but none of them has landed yet. We're a minute in. Fast-moving bout, no stoppages. Referee looking around, thinking, do I need to get them to show a little bit more attacking intent? Chen opens the scoring with a punch. El Sarabati gets the kick, takes the lead. Both of them cagey, watching the other like a hawk. Referee tells them to get in there. Mix it up a little bit. Late flurry, 5 seconds to go, bit of clinching and clutching. And there we go, 2-1. A punch from Chen, a kick from El Sarabati. We'll have some animated advice, no doubt, from the Jordanian coach. That was the punch that opened the scoring for Chen. And then the riposte came from El Sarabati a little later on, getting the kick around the corner. Beautifully captured there. Coach making sure that that did indeed show up on the sensor. El Sarabati, who will turn 20 next month. Finished second runner-up in the welterweight category in the Grand Prix in Moscow earlier this year. Second round underway. Sanction against Chen for going low. Every point could be worth its weight in gold. We are almost halfway through this bout. And all we've had so far is a kick from El Sarabati, a punch from Chen, and then that sanction. Another kick from El Sarabati, and he doubles his lead. And another one. Chen needs to react here. 7 unanswered points from El Sarabati. We are indeed now into the second half of this combat. Very little in the way of stoppages, none in the first round. Just 1 in the second for that sanction for Chen aiming low. Referees let them get on with it. Not a huge amount of attacking intent, but when they do attack, the attacks are genuine, and that's proved by the fact that El Sarabati has landed another kick. He went off the bat there. He can afford to sacrifice a point. He's still 7 to the good with just 20 seconds to go in this second round. Punch over the top from Chen. Hits the mark. El Sarabati almost off the mat, but content to wander back in. He'll be happy enough to manage the clock if he can. There's a bit of clutching. Referee pulls them apart. What can happen in the last 5 seconds? The answer is probably nothing, because they're standing around. 9-3 to El Sarabati. He'll be by far the happier of the two. His coach will be by far the happier of the two. Chen with a lot to do. He's managed 2 punches and got 1 sanction when El Sarabati went off the mat. That is all he has managed. He hasn't landed a kick. Attempted kick to the head, and in the end, El Sarabati ran out of room. He'd far rather concede the 1 than the 3. Duck and weave. Bob and move. El Sarabati 2 minutes away from a berth in the quarterfinals. Flurries of limbs. The referee gets in there and gets El Sarabati to get his protection back on. A minute and a half to go, and Chen's got it all to do. Usually you would say that there's time enough to do this, but he's managed 3 punches make that. Gets another punch in there and immediately gives it back by dint of a sanction. Bit of equipment on the floor again. Challenge has been submitted rather, by Chen's coach. Let's see what this is for. Judges take it on board and they will have a look. 80 seconds to go, 6 points the difference. Let's see what this involves. The Jordanian coach has seen something that he thinks is worth mentioning. Kick aimed by... the challenge has been upheld. They're saying that El Sarabati went off the mat, I think. 1 point waved off El Sarabati. So Chen must have been sanctioned earlier. Is he challenging something else? The Jordanian coach is told to sit down by the referee. Can we challenge whatever this is, says the referee. Yes, we can, says the judge. We'll have another one. That one's overruled. The judge says we can't challenge whatever the second challenge was, so no more challenges for Chen's camp. It's all up to him now. He's 5 points adrift. Make that 4 as El Sarabati hits the mat. A challenge is coming in from the Jordanian coach. Good grief, it's all happening here. Not a lot happening actually on the mat. They're saying that El Sarabati didn't jump, he was pushed. 72 seconds to go, it's a 4-point game. The judges will have a look. Jordanian coach once again saying exactly what he thinks happened. Being clutched. Was he thrown or did he fall? Attempted kick to the head. Contact presumably wasn't made. Didn't look like he was pushed from that angle. You can see Chen's arm coming out. Challenge is overruled. Neither team has any challenges, so let's have them getting on with it. 70 seconds to go. 4-point advantage for El Sarabati. Now the coaches have nothing that they can do. It's up to the 2 guys out onto the mat, and that's the way it should be. Attempting the kick for the head. Didn't quite make contact. He's going to end up off the mat, El Sarabati, unless he can get forward. Punch comes in from Chen. It's a 3-point game. Chen goes for the head. El Sarabati ducks out of the way. Break it up, says the referee. 40 seconds to go. 3 points in it. No challenges left. El Sarabati trying to win it with one blow. That could be it. He's got a kick to the trunk. He's 5 points clear with 25 seconds to go. He's down. It's going to have cost him a point. 4 clear with 21 to go. Chen needs to come up with something special. He's down. He's given away a point. 17 seconds and 5 points the gap. He needs a spin or a combination. It's going to have to be a spin. He tries the punch. El Sarabati backing off a little bit, coming at him. Wastes 2 or 3 seconds, precious seconds there. The referee stops the clock. 6 seconds for Chen to try and bring this around. He needs a spin. He can't get it. El Sarabati's gone to ground. A point will go the way of Chen. He has 4 seconds to get 4 points. He tries the spin, goes down. 5 points the difference. Seconds to go, and El Sarabati pulls off a famous win, 13-8, and makes it through to the semi-finals. Guaranteed a medal for Jordan. Chen salutes the opposite coach. El Sarabati takes the plaudits from his man. (13-8), what a win that was. Fast and furious towards the end. The blows were coming in thick and fast, people spinning around, desperately trying to get the big points. Happy to take the gamble. That one was never really going to come off. Gave away a point there, and it was all over at that point. A famous win for Jordan, who have been doing very well at this tournament. And that is it as far as the morning session is concerned. We've got all the way through to the quarter-final stages of the men's under 63 and under 80 Taekwondo. We will have an afternoon session with the semi-finals, the finals, and the medals. So please join us and join me, Drew Lilly, for that later on.
AIS Play ความบันเทิงระดับโลกทุกที่ทุกเวลา
ส่งต่อความมั่นใจสู้ไปด้วยกันนะครับ